Well, Black Adam is a dark anti-hero and a chance for the DC movies to further differentiate themselves from the MCU. But does Black Adam take that opportunity? Stick around, I'll share my thoughts. I'm Pater Franson, from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Black Adam. The synopsis on IMDb reads, nearly 5,000 years after he was bestowed with the almighty powers of the Egyptian gods and imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on the modern world. Okay, so stay tuned. At the end of this video, I'll make some closing stuff and my usual plugs, and then I'll have a spoiler section at the end. I might put a timestamp in the video version as well. If you're listening to this on the podcast, I'll put my spoiler thoughts all the way after the end credits of the entire podcast. For now, what the crap happened? Maybe there were some indications in the credits. As they rolled at the end, I saw 3 writers being credited and 2 editors. I'm not sure how common 2 editors is. I think I'm used to seeing mainly 1. And 3 writers, that's not certainly unheard of and not like as outlandish as I think the 5 that the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie had. But 3 is still, that's splitting the focus. It's certainly not one creative vision from beginning to end on that project to have 3 writers. And add to that what I just watched, and it makes me think that this production might have been really troubled. The bottom line is that it felt rushed and unfocused to me. The dialogue often felt like it was mainly serving exposition and just trying to get us from the main information that we need to go from A to B, or it was filled with cliche movie talk that doesn't feel real. It just feels like, oh yeah, this is the kind of copy and paste dialogue that you hear in a lot of different movies. It doesn't really sound like real people talking. And characters would also sometimes say things that felt unwarranted and unjustified given what had happened in the movie up to that point and their knowledge up to that point or their relationship to characters up to that point. Sometimes leaping forward in comfort level or like, this thing you're saying to him, that's something you say after you address the fact that he just crashed through your wall or whatever. It's like how are you going straight to that? There's that lack of psychological grounding, or what I sometimes call faux psychological realism, which there's a lot of that going on in the Marvel movies where they'll kind of give nods now and then to how people would really react in these kinds of situations, but they're still not fully engaged in the psychology of how people would much more likely react, namely being traumatized, freaked out, very troubled by their circumstances. And a lot of it is just kind of taken in stride, and that really pulls the rug out from under any sources of tension for me. And also, they sacrifice at times character logic and character consistency for the sake of going for a joke instead. The one example would be that Black Adam is a character. He's been asleep basically for 5,000 years. When he wakes up, everything is very alien to him. Even mirrors, let alone televisions, are entirely alien to him. But then, as the movie progresses, now and then he'll say these things that I'm like, well, that sounds like something The Rock would say. It doesn't quite sound like, it doesn't really sound like something that this character who's been asleep for 5,000 years would say. It sounds just a little anachronistic, just a little bit in the realm of modern casual talk, Now, I love DC Comics. I so wanted more from this experience and would really be interested in a director's alternate cut if it exists, and I think that's a possibility given the nature of the production, 3 writers, 2 editors. I also love the Justice Society. I'm a big fan of what Jeff Johns did to revitalize them back in the, late 90s, early 2000s. But they are thrown in here and given almost equal focus with Black Adam, which I'm like, I love the Justice Society. This needs to be Black Adam's story. We need to get into his character and his motivations, and too much time is taken away from those possibilities, those opportunities, in favor of giving time to the Justice Society, which also doesn't get the time that it needs, not near enough to establish itself. So it's like a tale of 2 movies being crammed together into one here. And not only that, but the Justice Society itself only has a token representation of its roster. That's understandable. You don't want to have the Jay Garrick Flash in there until you've established Barry Allen. You probably don't want to have Alan Scott Green Lantern until Hal Jordan has had his movie, So I understand why some of these choices might have been made, but oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cool to see a Gal Gadot, like a Justice Society movie with Gal Gadot in it? Maybe she came out of hiding for just a little bit it to be a part of a Justice Society. Wouldn't that be a cool movie? Anyway, this is far from the Justice Society in its full glory with its most well-known characters. Although I really appreciated Dr. Fate, I enjoy that character. I love the design of his costume. I should have put that in my notes when I talk about visual stuff. I love the visual design and the kind of the movieization of his costume in this. Really great stuff. And he gets a lot of great moments in terms of action scenes and how his powers come into play and stuff. Very cool. But, what the crap is going on? Who in the world is the Justice Society? Where have they been? They call themselves the Justice Society, and I know I'm a huge comic book fan for decades, but just in the context of the DC movie universe, I'm like, what do you mean you're the Justice Society? What the crap is a Justice Society? Where have they been? They're acting like they've been around for a long time. They're super well funded. Hawkman's got a jet that comes out of his mansion grounds like the X-Men jet, and I'm like, who the crap is Hawkman? It just says on the screen, Hawkman's mansion. Who the crap is Hawkman? You say that like I'm supposed to know who Hawkman is. And then Amanda Waller's in the mix. They're kind of, reporting to Amanda Waller, who I know as the woman who heads up Task Force X, the Suicide Squad. What's her connection here? Was there a little tease at the end of the most recent Suicide Squad movie that maybe she was cooking up another team or something? I don't know. I don't remember. But there was just so much here that was unestablished that I was just begging to have established and explained in this continuity. Who the crap is Hawkman? Who is Cyclone? Who is Atom Smasher or Dr. Fate? We get bare bones answers for Cyclone and how she got her powers, but almost nothing for others in terms of their origins and motivations. There's a sweet moment with Atom Smasher talking to the original. He said that he got his costume from the original Atom Smasher. In the comics, that's not quite accurate. He got his name from the original, the Atom, not the shrinking guy, but the World War II guy who was just a short boxer, with a really powerful punch, But so they're kind of like, riffing on his origin from the comics a little bit there. But I like that sense of legacy. But that was all we got, was a brief conversation with his uncle Al Pratt, the original Atom Smasher. And we don't know where this Atom Smasher got the ability to grow really huge, or what his limits are, or whatever. It's a huge shame because, especially when I think about Hawkman and Dr. Fate, their origins are deeply connected to ancient Egypt, which is so adjacent to Kahndaq, or however you say it, and Black Adam, that I'm stunned that they didn't leverage that to create a story that would better connect these characters, better establish their origins and motivations, in connection to each other. It's just, oh my gosh, why in the world would you not do that? Same with Intergang as the primary antagonist for most of the movie. Who the crap is Intergang? Now, I know who Intergang is. DC Comics nerd here. But with my movie head on, I'm like, who the crap is Intergang? What do they ultimately want? What is an Intergang? Is it a terrorist organization, or just like a big, really well-funded gang? Because they are crazy well-funded and organized with installations that are billions of dollars of money's worth put into technology and hidden bases and stuff. And I'm like, what the crap is this? What the crap is going on? But, if you don't care about story and character much, and you just want a shallow special effects bonanza, Black Adam will deliver, and I don't fault anybody who just wants that and is going to be content with that. That's not where I'm at. I want a whole lot more than that. And I just didn't feel like the stakes of all of that action that is plentiful throughout the movie were really hitting home for me because of the near constant jokiness that seems, again, mystifyingly, to be chasing after some kind of Marvel wannabe flavor. And without better establishing the origins of characters, it's hard to know, what their limits are in terms of their powers and when they are pushing themselves to their limits. When the hero pushes themselves to their limits and you sense that it's costing them something, you feel that with them, but we don't really know what the boundaries are for these characters and their powers because there's been almost no time spent establishing who they are and what they can do. And combine that with all the jokes, and it just made the action moments weightless for me. As far as the cast goes, I really did think that the actors were all solid and fitting for their roles here. However, the ADR, which is the post-production voice recording that actors will come in and do to make up for the fact that sometimes when they're shooting on a set or like a public space, there's other sounds going on that would mess up the recording, actually on the day, so they come in after the fact to record their lines. And so if you've ever noticed that, weirdly in a movie, a line seems dubbed or it doesn't quite match the actor's performance or what's going on there, that's just an example of kind of bad ADR that doesn't quite fit the moment. And frequently the ADR felt way off to me. No. Let me scale that back. I'm getting a little bit too hyperbolic here. Recurringly, it felt way off at times. And that just made the movie seem like something all the more disjointed and thrown together, making me wonder how much rewriting was done, maybe in post-production, which would maybe explain this ADR that just doesn't seem like it was given the time it needed. So director's cut, please, if it exists out there. Maybe I wouldn't like it any more than this, but I have to think that at least it would be a more cohesive vision that I could better try to appreciate. Even Dwayne Johnson, though not known for his acting ability, I think fit well in Black Adam's stoic moments, and he gave a great performance in some brief flashbacks related to his tragic backstory. So I definitely have to tip my hat to him for that. By the way, though, that tragic backstory is treated as a revelation in this movie, even though it's information that was presented in, I think, multiple trailers for this movie. I'm like, what? Why would you put that in the trailer? If you're going to wait till the back end of the movie to establish his origin and what's really driving him. That was another problem. It's like they didn't... I knew from the trailers and from the comics the basics of, that he had a tragic backstory that made him driven by revenge and all that kind of stuff. But without them actually stating that or making that clear at the beginning, his motives, were unclear, and so all the possibility for moral ambiguity and tension in terms of that kind of thing, it just wasn't present like I think it could have been. As far as stunts and visuals go, I have to say this: I really liked the visual presentation. It has a brown tinted, high contrast look that's very in keeping, I think, with Snyder's movies and at least his visual color palette. And it even employs slow motion to great effect, especially in this opening scene where he's just really cutting loose as the military or inner gang or whoever is really trying to take him down. And the slow motion and the various effects just really showcase how effortlessly and casually powerful and destructive Black Adam is compared to those who try to go up against him. So really appreciated the visual look and the visual style, both in action moments and in non-action moments. I liked the look of this movie. Now, by no means is it perfect or really pushing the bar higher in terms of visual effects, but it has a quality and style that I love as a Snyder fan. And it just really makes me wish that it had a different script connecting all these cool visual moments together. Now, as far as themes, is there anything of moral, philosophical, or spiritual significance in the themes of this thing that might trigger some worthwhile thought or conversation? I don't know. I tend not to see themes. Sorry, I'm rushed. I know. It's because my voice is going to give out on me because I'm sick, and I got to pick up my son in just a few minutes here. So I'm sorry I'm speeding through this. But I don't tend to see themes as easily in content that I don't enjoy. Maybe there's something here about justice versus revenge or something. Black Adam is such an interestingly motivated character in the comics, and that does carry over through to here, but there's so much potential there that the movie doesn't focus enough to truly take advantage of. So I don't think it's a movie that's really going to be likely to make people be thinking about worthwhile things. As far as, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, go back in time, say, skip. Buy this in a bargain bin when it's under $10. If something comes along that this movie serves as a precursor to, such as a JSA movie or another Black Adam movie that looks like it's going to be a more enjoyable experience to you than this one. Sadly, this one is nothing you're really going to enjoy that much. It's rated PG-13 for sequences of strong violence, intense action, and some language. And apart from my spoiler thoughts in just a little bit, those are all my thoughts for now on Black Adam. I'd love to get your thoughts and reactions. Man, fighting off a cough. In the comments below, please like, share, subscribe, click that bell to stay connected. I want to thank the Spirit Blade Insiders for making this review possible. You can get info about that at patreon.com/Spirit Blade Productions. Lots of benefits for being a patron over there. Then I hope you'll check out our podcast and stay connected to all CGC content over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth. Okay. Dang it. Okay, I gotta make this quick. Where do we go from here after this? Dr. Fate... spoiler, go away if you don't want to hear it. Here I go. Dr. Fate dies at the end, but he can be resurrected, and Kent Nelson in the comics started living in the helmet and coaching the new Dr. Fate at some point, so I think that could be a place they could go from here. You could also go back and do a World War II Justice Society with a younger actor playing Dr. Fate. I want a Justice Society movie with Green Lantern, Alan Scott and Jay Garrick, but of course I think we need that Hal Jordan movie probably first, just to build up that name brand a little bit for moviegoers. Henry Cavill in the scene at the end, in mid credits, is back as Superman. hardly says anything except that, we should talk, he says to Black Adam. But where does that potentially go? I don't think it's a fist fight. It's probably just something we would hear about later on as well. I tried to reason with him, didn't work out, or maybe it worked for now. But it's less important than Henry Cavill on a meta level being back and establishing that, yes, he is still Superman in this DC universe. And I think that's great. There's more that I could probably say on there. Actually, on the podcast, was it this week or last week? I can't remember when I recorded it. But recently, that's something on the podcast that's come up, and I think I share some thoughts there. Amanda Waller being the connective tissue, maybe, between the Justice Society and Black Adam. And I think that's kind of a way that we could kind of like connect elements of the DC universe together with Amanda Waller. I think there is another Suicide Squad movie coming, so I think that she could serve as a what do you call it, dude with eye patch in the Marvel movies. Nick Fury. Yeah, she could be the Nick Fury for the DC universe. A lot really depends on the outcome of the Flash movie coming up, which is almost certainly going to reset continuity to some degree. I'm guessing that Black Adam will be the villain in a third Shazam movie. It's been confirmed, I believe, that he's not in the upcoming one, but it makes a ton of sense that he would be the villain in the third, presumably final, Shazam movie in the trilogy. I assume. I don't think they're going to plan on doing more. Those kids are getting old. But really, yeah, there's so much up in the air right now with power currently changing hands at Warner Brothers. I would say a director's cut release of this movie would indicate where DC is heading. If whoever was in charge that made this movie the way it is now out and they start working right now on a director's cut, because Hamada, the big guy that left, just left this week or something. So I think if we get a director's cut of this, that could maybe help us speculate as to what's coming in the future, at least in terms of tone. I don't know. But definitely I think we got to keep watch on that Flash movie. I think that is their most valuable course correction point, pivot point, whatever you want to call it. That is the potential, and they have to see that to establish what the DCU is going to be going forward. Hopefully it's not going to be more like this. But anyway, those are all my thoughts for now. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. It is time again for Christian Geek Central's annual Game Save event, fundraising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which provides free treatment for children facing life or death circumstances and shares its cutting-edge life-saving research with hospitals all over the world. You're still welcome to join the Game Save team by following the link in the description below. And once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will stream live on youtube.com/Christian Geek Central beginning 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 5th. You can donate or get more info by clicking on my fundraising page in the links below, where you'll also find incentives and rewards for doing so. For $5, choose a topic for me to share my sometimes overly strong opinions on during my live stream. For $10, you get the previous reward and a download code for a free copy of the Spirit Blade Special Edition audio drama. For $20, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a game for me to play during my November 5th live stream, pick a favorite, or torture me with something terrible or rage-inducingly difficult. For $30, you get the previous rewards and you can choose a song for me to sing during my November 5th live stream, pick an old favorite of yours, or just make me humiliate and torture myself with something no one wants to hear. And for $50, you get the previous rewards and a download code for every MP3 product at spiritblade.com. That's a $90 value. On top of that, I have set fundraising milestones that will unlock strange and unusual happenings as I reach them. At $200, I'll have a free download day for everyone who visits spiritblade.com on November 12th. And as my total goes beyond $200, I'll unlock increasingly more content for the free download day. And depending on how far beyond $200 my fundraising goes, during my November 5th live stream, I will cover my face in peanut butter and jelly while talking about horror movies, put on a pair of frozen socks and a frozen t-shirt at the same time, shoot water up my nose with a turkey baster, and have my wife Holly play a video game with me for 30 minutes. And if I reach a personal fundraising total of $500 or more, I will resume and complete, before the end of the year, my live stream Let's Play series for Fallout New Vegas as a Terminator. I like your gun. Attempting to do so in a single sitting. That could take as much as 20 hours or more based on how long tobeat.com averages. We will find out together if I reach $500. Finally, if I reach my $500 goal by the end of Thursday, October 20th, I will do a 4-hour live stream before the end of the year, playing only the most frustratingly difficult games in my collection. Since my last Get Good live stream, I've added some more titles to the list that will probably be like beating my face against a wall, and you can bring that about if you help me reach $500 by the end of October 20th. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all the details. I hope you'll be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central Game Save team do some good for some kids who really need it. And then please join me at youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral for my 24-hour marathon starting at 6 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, November 5th. Hope to see you then.
Oh my gosh. This is all kinds of wrong.